The baby's wails pierced through the hum of the jet engines, sharp and relentless, echoing down the narrow aisle of the packed flight from New York to London. Passengers shifted uncomfortably, sighing and rolling their eyes. But in seat 23A, a young woman named Emily Carter closed her book and looked toward the sound. 3 rows ahead, a man, late 30s, tired eyes unshaven, bounced a crying toddler in his arms. His expensive watch and perfectly tailored coat couldn't hide the helplessness on his face. The baby, red-faced and trembling, only screamed louder. Emily hesitated. She wasn't the type to interfere. But something about the man's look, a quiet panic mixed with exhaustion, tugged at her. She unbuckled her seatbelt and walked toward him. "Excuse me," she said softly. "Would you like me to try?" The man blinked, startled. "Oh, I don't think she'll calm down for anyone. She hasn't stopped crying since we boarded." Emily smiled gently. "May I?" He hesitated for a second, then nodded, handing over the small, trembling bundle wrapped in a pink blanket. The moment Emily took the child, she began humming a simple, tender lullaby her mother used to sing to her when she was scared of thunderstorms. "Hush now, little one, the stars will keep you safer." Her voice was low, soothing, almost like warm honey. Within moments, the baby's cries softened into hiccups, then faded altogether. The little girl's eyelids fluttered, and she fell asleep against Emily's shoulder. The man just stared. "How did you?" Emily smiled. "Sometimes babies just need a song and a heartbeat close by. She's precious." He ran a hand through his hair. "You have no idea how much that means. It's been a rough few weeks." Emily nodded but didn't press. She could see it in his eyes, the kind of grief that words can't explain. When the flight attendant passed, Emily offered to sit beside them for a while so the baby could stay asleep. The man agreed gratefully, moving aside. "I'm Daniel," he said after a while. "And this is Lily." "Hi, Daniel." "Hi, Lily," Emily whispered, rocking the sleeping child. "I'm Emily." They talked softly as the plane soared above the Atlantic. Daniel told her how his wife, Lily's mother, had passed away just 3 months ago in a car accident. Since then, flying or sleeping or even breathing felt impossible. This was his first trip with his daughter alone. He was traveling to London to start fresh, maybe find a new beginning. Emily listened, her heart tightening. "I'm so sorry," she murmured. "You're doing great, really. She's lucky to have you." Daniel gave a tired laugh. "I don't feel that way most days." "Well," she said kindly, "you kept her fed, safe, and loved through the hardest thing life can throw at you. That counts for more than you think." When the plane landed, Daniel stood, thanking her over and over. She just smiled. "Take care of her," she said, handing Lily back. He nodded, eyes glistening. "I will." Emily walked off the plane, thinking she'd never see them again. But 2 weeks later, while she was finishing a shift at the small cafe where she worked, a black car pulled up outside. The door opened, and out stepped Daniel, now clean-shaven, dressed sharply, holding baby Lily in one arm and a bouquet of white lilies in the other. "Emily Carter," he said with a smile. "I've been trying to find you." She blinked in surprise. "Daniel, what are you doing here?" He laughed softly. "To say thank you properly. I wasn't in the right headspace on that flight, but I never forgot your kindness. You have no idea who you helped that day." He handed her a card. It read. Emily's jaw dropped. "Wait, you're that Daniel Reed, the billionaire investor." He chuckled. "I'm just a dad who owes a stranger a lot more than a thank you." She smiled, blushing. "You don't owe me anything. You and Lily just needed a little kindness." He looked at her, really looked at her. "And you gave it without expecting anything in return. That's rare these days." Then he gestured toward the cafe window. "How long have you been working here?" 3 years, she said. "It's not much, but it pays the bills." He smiled warmly. "I happen to know a position opening at one of my foundations, something to do with early childhood programs and community outreach. You'd be perfect for it." She stared at him. "Are you serious?" "Completely." A year later, Emily stood in front of a room full of smiling children and proud parents, leading a small community center Daniel had helped fund in Lily's name. Daniel stood at the back. Lily perched on his arm, clapping with the rest of the crowd. When the applause faded, Emily caught his eye and smiled. He mouthed, "Thank you," and she whispered back, "You're welcome." Sometimes the smallest act of kindness, a lullaby on a plane, a gentle voice in the chaos, can change not just a moment but an entire lifetime. Because in a world where everyone's in a hurry, a single song of compassion can still remind us what it means to be human. After the ceremony, when the applause faded and the guests began mingling, Daniel walked up to Emily, still holding Lily in his arms. The little girl stretched her tiny hands toward Emily. Giggling, Emily laughed softly and took her. Lily rested her head against Emily's shoulder, the same way she had on that flight a year ago. Daniel watched the two of them for a long moment. "You know," he said quietly, "sometimes I think fate put us on that plane for a reason." Emily smiled. "Maybe it did, or maybe it just reminded us that kindness still matters." He nodded. "You changed my life that day. I was broken, lost, and somehow, your song, your presence, brought me back." Emily's eyes softened. "You did the hard part, Daniel. You chose to live again. I just helped remind you how." They stood there in silence for a moment, surrounded by the laughter of children and the warmth of the afternoon sun. Lily babbled happily, tugging at Emily's hair, and Daniel couldn't help but smile. "I don't know if you've noticed," he said, his voice dropping slightly, "but Lily seems to love you more than anyone else." Emily laughed, her cheeks turning pink. "She's just being sweet. Kids sense warmth, that's all." Daniel shook his head, smiling. "Maybe. Or maybe she just knows something we don't." The weeks passed, and Emily's new role at the foundation grew into something remarkable. She poured her heart into every project, helping single parents find hope and support. Her compassion inspired the entire team, and Daniel found himself spending more time at the center than in boardrooms. They often had lunch together, sometimes with Lily, sometimes just the two of them, talking about everything from work to music to the simple ways people could make the world softer.